All right, let's get it. Contrary to popular belief, learning and memorizing are not the same. First, I want to take a look at the definition for memorization. It is as follows: the process of committing something to memory or learning something by heart. This understanding and knowledge is acquired through the root memorization. Now, I kind of have a issue with this definition because it actually says learning. And the point I'm going to try and make in this video is that they are not the same. So anyway, moving on. Let's look at the definition of learning. The definition for learning is as follows: the acquisition of knowledge or skills through experience, study, or being taught. So, as you can see by definition, they are not the same. Now, this probably is going to be a short video because there isn't much to break down. Naturally, I'll give a few examples to support my statement, and I'll try and keep this simple. A child may memorize all the words to the most popular song on the radio. Some will go, "That's impressive." And because I'm not a hater, I'll somewhat agree. I say somewhat for this very reason. Just because he or she has memorized the words doesn't mean that he or she knows what the artist is talking about. I mean, not really. Let me get a little personal. When I was a kid, on Easter Sunday, we would memorize and recite a speech in front of the congregation. Looking back at it, I think I always got assigned the longest speech too. I mean, some of my peers my age, their speech would be like 2 sentences, while I would have to remember an entire paragraph. But anyway, as a child, I had no idea what the majority of my speeches were trying to say. My goal was just to finish without making any mistakes. I wasn't interested in learning. I was just trying to memorize. Let's take a look at directions for a second. I know we have GPS and all those other devices that gives directions. Before that though, there was no choice but to know where you were going. Let's say you were trying to get to someone's house. They provide you with directions, and that becomes your route. Go here, turn there, make a left at the light. Y'all know how it goes. You memorize the route. What if you have to make a detour though? What if there's construction on one of the streets on your route? Can you still find your destination? If you know the area, scratch that. If you learn the area, 1 or 2 detours won't be a problem. It may take you a little longer to get there, but you'll still get there. If you only know the route, then you'll probably have to stop and ask for directions. See the difference? When you know, you can make adjustments on the fly. If you memorize just your route, it becomes more difficult. Now I'll move on to the workplace. When you're learning a new position or a new process, 9 times out of 10, you just memorize the steps and move on. Never really asking, why do it this way? Or why do it that way? To me, That's not learning. If you don't know why something is happening, then you really just don't know. What about when the process isn't working as planned? Can you find a solution? Or are you stuck because you only memorized the steps? You see what I'm getting at? Have you ever talked to someone about politics and all they do is parrot talking points from their favorite news network? By the time the conversation is over, you realize they really don't know what they're talking about. They're just repeating the things that they heard the news anchor report. Basically, they just memorize someone else's thoughts and opinions. This is an example of parroting. A parrot can mimic and report certain phrases, but it really has no idea or clue what it's actually saying. It's kind of like someone who can quote scripture, but has no idea what that scripture really means. We all know someone like that, but I'm going to leave that alone because I don't want to offend anyone. It's similar to someone who constantly uses words out of context because they memorize the phrase or a saying. Alanis Morissette had a popular song back in the day called Ironic. And I know I date myself with some of these references. She talks about a man that was afraid of flying and then his plane crashes. The hook goes something like, it's rain on your wedding day, or it's a free ride when you've already paid. Sorry, Elena. That's not irony, that's bad luck. Irony would be if you write someone a love letter and then they hate you for it. Irony would be you storming into your boss's office to tell him or her everything that sucks about your job, and then you walk out with a promotion. That's ironic. So getting back on track. Am I saying that having a good memory is a bad thing? Of course not. It does show that your brain is functioning properly. What I'm saying is, having a good memory isn't enough. I think you should ask why as opposed to just doing. I want you to know why you're doing something instead of saying, that's the way I was taught. And if someone doesn't want to explain, perhaps it's because they don't know themselves, or they're trying to mushroom you. They're trying to keep you in the dark and feed you ish. Well, I'll leave it there for now. If you like the way I think, hop over to my Patreon and check out some of my original short stories. It's only $1.50 per download. The link is in the description box below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos. Like always, I thank you for your time. Peace.